Evan Power is the Florida GOP chairman and joins us right now. Okay, so it's highly entertaining watching, but what do you think about it? And does it have any political sway?
No, Hakeem Jeffries loves to pop off like this. And the reality is we've seen his maximum warfare. He brought $20 million to two special elections down here in Florida. We won both of them by double digits. So I think his maximum warfare is just like Hakeem Jeffries weak.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffries is always trying to attack Florida, the GOP. It's unbelievable. But you got the governor there, DeSantis. I love how he's calling him out. And this Jeffries guy, that was fantastic. But he did call a special session in the state legislature, which is set to begin early next week. Now, the conservatives, they are calling for DeSantis to throw out the state's congressional map. I mean, we've had this happen in Virginia, but now Florida's doing it too, which handed Republicans 20 House seats and Democrats 8 in the 2024 elections. Now there are calls for the Sunshine State Republicans to draw a map that would likely give the GOP a 26-2 advantage in response to the Democrats redrawing the maps in California and also in Virginia. So my question to you, what are Republicans looking to gain here by redrawing the map? Is this going to ultimately shift things in their favor?
Well, if you look at the map that we have currently, it has vestiges of a court-imposed map that was actually drawn by the DCCC 10 years ago. So the vestiges of that are in this map. If you draw fair and compact districts and let our voters have a say in who they want to represent them, you're going to end up with more Republicans. I'm not sure how many seats the legislature is going to draw that way because they're not drawing it for partisan intent. But when they draw compact districts, we're going to get a lot more Republicans here in Florida because this is a state that the president won by 14 points.
Look, I love, I think it's funny, the whole tit for tat thing. But I'm also very, concerned about it because the fact of the matter is, people like to know their representatives. They like to feel like they really have a say and they're part of this. Also, anytime the state swings, a state swings one way or the other, we could have this thing coming up over and over and over again, and it wastes taxpayer money, too. Aren't you concerned about that?
I think there's a concern in us redrawing maps every couple of years. But here in Florida, the courts have just recently ruled that we no longer have to draw these districts with these partisan intentions. And so what we're doing is really cleaning up the map and letting the voters of Florida choose their representatives based on fair and compact maps, which gives the voters a say in who their representative is, to your point.
Let's get to the Virginia, because this just happened here this week. We got the Virginia court now has ruled that they're going to look at this, whether this was unconstitutional, the changing of the maps there.
The lobster claw.
The lobster, yeah. It was so artistic how they were able to make that work. But, I mean, could the same thing happen in Florida, though? Could this ultimately get to the courts?
The courts always, the Democrats love suing us here in Florida. We tend to win. But I think when you look at what we're doing and what the legislature may potentially do, is they're drawing compact maps that are more fair than the districts are now. So I think when you have those fair maps, the courts recently upheld our changes in North Florida, and the same thing can happen in Central and South Florida if the legislature redraws the map.
Well, everyone tries to put a really good face on it. But, last month, a Democrat flipped the seat in the district that includes Trump's Mar-a-Lago. Why? So are Democrats really gaining ground there?
This is like a rerun from 2 years ago. Democrats win special elections. It's hard for us to turn out our voters in non-election time. So we've lost some special elections. I became chairman a little over 2 years ago. The first week I lost a special election in Central Florida. The lady who lost that special election is a member of the legislature now because we won it back in November. We're going to win the two seats we lost in the specials. We'll win them in November. And I think what I will say is we have a 1.5 million voter advantage. Just crossed that threshold here in Florida. We're going to elect Republicans across the state. And I wouldn't worry too much about special elections because they're just that special.
Right. There are some other states, though, that Republicans could look at maybe to redistrict. Democrats, they don't really have a lot of options left. You look at Illinois, they tried to do it there. But, there are 6 states, not a single Republican member of Congress that in New England that could potentially, that might be one that they look at to redraw. Do you think that red states should be looking at trying to beat some of these Democrats at their own game in states like New England?
We can't sit back and let Democrats weaponize the system against us. When Eric Holder went out and created this political action committee that gets involved in redistricting, that's when this war started. Yeah. Democrats have weaponized the election system against Republicans, and Republicans are finally waking up and wanting to fight. And I'm happy to see that because we need to fight on every level like they do. Because if we have free and fair elections across America, we'll have a lot more Republicans in Congress.